If you're enjoying the Creator Economy Live podcast, then it's time to get excited because Creator Economy Live is heading to New York City this August 5th to 6th. Yep, that's right. The ultimate influencer marketing event for brands is taking a bite of the Big Apple. This East Coast city is home to hundreds of brands who have previously attended Creator Economy Live, including Clinique, AIC Hotel Group, New Balance, Unilever, Fanatics, JD Sports, Daily Mail, Hinge, Sage, and so many more. You can't afford to miss this. Grab your ticket today at CreatorEconomyLiveEast.com and use code CELPOD20 at checkout. See you in New York City.
It was a bit interesting at first because we're a content first platform that actually we said don't care about the story that you have and not the number of followers. So I think that's just where, for a creator, needing to understand that the community isn't only going to be your followers. It's actually going to be everyone that sees your videos. I was talking to a creator yesterday. She has a little bit over 1 million followers. And she said, but 98% of my views come from the For You feed. So she's like, so I actually feel like I have, 90 million in my community.
Welcome back to Creator Economy Live. We are live from Cannes, France at the Female Quotient Equality Lounge. We have an amazing guest with us today. First of all, shout out to our sponsors, Linkia, and our amazing production partners at Creator Economy Live for making this episode happen. We are welcoming today with us the Global Head of Creators at TikTok, Kim Farrell. Kim, welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. We're day 3. Day 3. But technically we're like halfway, right? We're technically halfway.
We're at the halfway mark.
Halfway mark. Any highlights, surprises so far?
Oh my gosh. I think the creators have been on some amazing panels and just the reaction they're getting from the brands. We've had a lot of kind of closed door sessions for them and they're leaving with actual deals and partnerships and things like that. So that we were hoping that would happen, but actually seeing it is pretty cool. And also we brought a global group this year and we were, we're always hoping that they're gonna, connect, but they're really forming a bond and hanging out. So yeah, it's been cool.
Your space has been packed every day.
Major props to the team doing
day.
that. Major props to the team. I think it's been awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw you the second I got here. We ran into each other minute 5, had some drinks, relaxed. I have not seen you since. What have you been doing? What have you been up to?
So let's see. Monday was my big day. What happened? So I had an interview with the VP of marketing at LinkedIn, and then I did a panel with LinkedIn, their global head of community, or their head of community management, and then their COO. And then the Wall Street Journal up on their rooftop, which was epic. I was really psyched on that. So did a panel and then went out to the hills for dinner and had drinks all night. Took it kind of easy yesterday. It's in Blur. I went to the B2B summit for a little bit and then bopped around. Yeah.
Nice. It's been good. We released the report, the Female Quotient Report, which is out there, the top women shaping the industry, and we had them speaking, and we're doing sessions and recordings all week, so that was fun. We had a nice lunch yesterday, and I've enjoyed the concerts. 50 Cent, still got it. He still has it. That's the one thing that I was a little bit bummed. I don't have FOMO about most things so far. 50 Cent.
That one I do.
Jason Derulo.
Was he good?
Yes.
I almost went there yesterday.
It was the perfect Jason Derulo
nice
set. So yeah.
Nice. So we're having fun too. We're enjoying it. I will say, and I want to hear what you're doing with creators because I know you actually made a big effort this year with creators. Last year I felt it was creators showed up, creators were starting to take over, mostly mega big name creators.
Okay.
I have met at least 100 micro creators, which actually surprised me.
Yeah.
So can you explain what your role is and then what you did here? Because you went above and beyond creator-wise here.
Yeah. So I lead our global creator team, and essentially our job is to support and help grow the millions of creators on TikTok. We do that in a few ways. We do, programs, education, all that, and then we do more of the direct partnerships with some of the creators on the platform. And then we do all of our kind of creator events, and yes, all of the kind of opportunities to bring creators to like different industry events and different like major events of the world. So we were actually here last month for the film festival with another group of creators. We had a creator, Reese Feldman, a guy with a movie camera. He actually premiered his short film in the Palais. So that was like cool. He started as a production assistant and then, has really built up, his own account. And yeah, so he was, doing that. So yeah, I think we do that too. So what we're doing this year, last year we brought a small group of creators from the US and, just wanted to understand like, what could we help do for them here? And, what were those conversations? What was the receptivity of brands to, chat with them? And it was like, as soon as we got here and we were flooded with, oh, can they speak on this? Can they meet with this person? How can I hang out with them? So this year we brought a group from 10 different countries. So we have 21 creators from US, UK, Canada, Brazil, Indonesia, Ghana, Korea. So an amazing kind of, did I say Indonesia? Indonesia. They're on dozens of panels. They are meeting with brands. They're in our space doing speed networking. Yesterday we had a lunch with 20 leaders from TikTok. We also want them to just like get to know us, like we're people. That's like kind of like what we're doing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So your team finds the creators, talks to them, gets them here, curates an experience for the whole
thing. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. And how many did you say you did this?
We have 21 with us. But we also, what I was really excited about is in the TikTok space, we have a whole corner, a TikTok Creator Academy corner, and we sent out like a sign up site to any creator that told us they were going to be here, aside from the 21 that we brought. And so they can go and meet with our team. We're including them in events. Some of them wanted to meet with brands. We had some spaces and sessions. We're bringing them in. I ran into a creator at the airport and was like, hey, do you want to come to lunch on Tuesday? She came yesterday, So we're just really trying to be as like agile and like dynamic as possible to meet as many creators like as we can. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's your creator experience? Have you been seeing them around? I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah, it definitely. I think you're spot on. Like, I feel like to me, it feels like a lot of creators, in the same way they used to go to VidCon, even if they didn't get the formal invite. There's so many people coming here because they're like, I want to be close to the action. There's like kind of a sense of feeling like, I don't know exactly what I want, but I know it's happening there and I need to be a part of it. So like, yeah, the amount of creators that aren't like necessarily massive, but are like either full-time or on the cusp of going full-time, who like paid their own way or called together sponsorships is like really surprising.
Yeah, it's wild. I feel like it's a creator revolution in media where they are distribution now. When 10, 20 years ago, if you came to Cannes and all the smaller publishers were coming up and there were so many publishers and so many options and it was publisher land, it feels like the whole tide has shifted to, oh wait, the creators are the publishers now. We did that panel with Dar yesterday. He was saying, I forget if he said a Super Bowl commercial or something else, but he said the Super Bowl this year got X millions of views. He said, I post twice a day. If any post got that many, that would be a failed post. Like a bad post. And that the contextualization of that is wild. Now, the other thing he said was I think this is super unique. I don't think many creators like this. Over 90% of his income comes from platform pay.
Yeah.
So monetization wise, what are you seeing? Is it still predominantly brand deals and that's what all the creators here are after, or are you educating them on how to diversify revenue streams?
I want to get that, but can I go back to something you were saying before?
Yeah.
So I think when creators started to come to Cannes a few years ago, we really started to see them, like some of them being here, as you said, like generally they were brought for a panel and then decided to stay and kind of started to figure it out. I think what I've seen in the shift in the conversation is treating creators as businesses and as brands themselves. Mm-hmm. So I'm seeing the conversations be like almost like brand to brand conversations because the creators understand and treat their accounts, their content as a business. Like, of course, like the Darmans are like full on businesses, but I think creators are so in tune and so thoughtful about everything they're doing. And I think the brands are finally understanding that it's not a transactional, tell me how to make a good video. Yeah, no. It's, okay, tell me how you can help me reach a business goal. And that shift, like I was on a panel with Brew on the radio over at Nielsen, and we're talking about data and insights and tools and like the way that how articulate speaking about the business I think that's been the biggest shift, and I love to see it. I think it's so empowering for the creators. And we had some sessions with creators before we came that we offered like tips and tricks on like how to show up here. We gave them like business cards with QR codes that go direct to their accounts, like because like not everyone's going to know if you say on but like your handle. So those little things that just help them to feel more prepared to have those conversations. So I think that's
it's a great
thing.
call. It's a great call.
100%. Like I was talking to somebody else about this the other day, and like it's sort of like the leverage has shifted, and it feels like it's going to continue to shift because brand deals, I've seen stats where it's like brand deals still make up like something like 90% of the creator economy, like revenue. But even so, the creators are getting more and more discerning. And it's so funny because I feel like the questions so many brands used to ask, like, what happens if like, brand safety issues arise and stuff like that? And the creators are now asking those questions of brands. It's like, well, what happens if this brand gets into a controversy? Like, what do they stand for? Because I want to make sure that like I can put my name behind it. And I think that's the best thing. It's going to like having them on a little bit more of an even playing field. It's going to create better work and like convert to like less of those one-offs and more like long-term partnerships and stuff.
We had some CMO roundtables yesterday with the creators, and one of the biggest things that came out of it was a creator said to the brand, I've never received a performance report back from the brand about how they thought that I did. Like I can look at what I think and I can say I think that was successful, I think I drove something, but I've never received back from the brand. I ask and they're just kind of on to the next. So I think it was a huge like light bulb for some of the brands to be like, oh, they also want to like know if they're driving the business for you. So I think those types of like moments. But I think on the monetization piece, sorry, took a detour. I think our approach as TikTok is we've really said we're going to offer a diverse set of tools, and we want to have kind of the most the lowest barrier to entry for monetization. So like our Creator Rewards program starts at 10,000 followers to be eligible. So we really wanted it to be something that can be for as many creators as possible and really like democratize that kind of rewards for the content. But our approach is that, like kind of choose your own adventure. So you might be monetizing through platform pay, through brand deals. Like we recently, now TikTok One, we launched last year, which was previously like TikTok Creator Marketplace, live, subscription, so series. And so I think that's really been our approach. I think some other platforms have taken a more like predominant channel of that. And I think with TikTok, we're just saying like, we want you to be able to do what fits for you. And you might change that over time as well. Like we see creators that aren't in a Creator Rewards program for a while and then decide to join it later because their content has shifted towards something that works for that. So that's what kind of works.
The live piece, we've talked about this. I feel like it's so I feel like for people who aren't in that ecosystem, it's flying under the radar. Like I've talked to some creators and like heard how much they make, and it's freaking insane. Like through the digital, like not even like shopping, just like the digital gifting, it's wild. People are making so much money off of that.
Yeah. I think we're still in inning one of shopping or live. I think we're still very early, but I do think creators should be doing it now. I do think this is the revolution of the next 5-10 years to say, if you got in early enough and built an audience, like you're planting seeds for later right now. I don't think you're trying to capitalize on it literally in the next 12 months, but I don't know if I'm correct in that. You probably see more data than I do.
I think what was interesting was when we started to have live, there was this idea that every kind of short video creator could just also be a live creator. And I think we've definitely seen that there are creators that they're predominantly live or only live, and then they might cut to like VOD that they post after, which we love to see as well. We've actually seen that is really great at kind of driving conversion to live. So having kind of a dual strategy, but it's a very different engagement. And it's also like in the actual UI of like what you do, like with challenges and duels and gifting and things like that. It's a totally different type of communication with the audience. So we do try and like educate creators on that. We reach out to creators that we think have potential, like help to coach them if they want to try live. But for some of them, it's like not the right fit. But we're definitely seeing like the start of that crossover. But it's definitely interesting.
I mean, I still would assume and predict that for most, there's so many creators. For most creators, brand deals are going to make the vast majority of their income for a good chunk of time here. For the megas and the top 1%, they could start shop, they could do live, they could do gifting, and they're going to monetize pretty quickly. I still think brand deals are a lot. The interesting nuance is, so you were talking about this, if you're a creator, you are a brand. And so you have a brand identity, you should have your own tone of voice and all that stuff. And so brands should look for creators who have the same tone of voice, same identity. We had a couple of good questions this week on different panels that were all on the same theme, which was, how come if these creators can reach what well beyond TV commercials, are brands still struggling to understand what they're buying? I personally think it's partially because if you're a brand executive and you're taking a TV spot, you kind of get it. Oh, that show is on this thing and these people watch and I understand it. It's almost like this perception of, how could someone post that many times and get that many views? Is this real? Am I just one little post here? I'm not gonna watch it as the executive, so is it, I'd watch the TV commercial? I think there's a disconnect, which maybe is generational too, and we'll get past that. But like, what are you seeing, I guess, with the brands and the creators? Are the creators kind of not understanding or why they can't get more of that media upfront budget if they're not the top 1%?
I mean, I think that there are a few studies coming out this week. I think Deloitte had one that's like the investment in creators is skyrocketing.
Yeah.
I think the rest of investment is kind of like, flat or declining in different things. So I think we are seeing the shift, which is great. I think, brands care a lot about the data, like the data behind it. I think we took a little bit of time to catch up, like as an industry. So there were, really established ways to measure the impact of a TV commercial. But so I think I think this week we announced MarketScope, which is kind of like our own first party. I'm not an expert on it, but it's our first party kind of data that will help brands to understand how their campaigns are performing. And so I think it's those types of things that will help brands to get more comfortable. Yeah. But I think the other piece of it is, and I was talking with Patty Morris from State Farm. Yeah. We had one of the best conversations on a panel over at Inkwell. And she was just talking about it can be uncomfortable for a brand to let go a little bit of that voice. Yeah. And also the content doesn't live on their on their accounts necessarily. And so it really is saying you're totally, you're really crossing to the creator. So, so I think that's kind of where some of that's from, but the brands that are doing it, it's incredible.
Well, they're a good example. We had Allison Griffin here yesterday doing some talks, and State Farm's the perfect example. They don't have a brand TikTok. Jake is their TikTok. If that doesn't tell you exactly, if that doesn't tell you that you need a personification and human relationship and all that stuff, I don't know what does. So I think I don't know, it feels like a very big shift this year of just tone, where the whole publishing and media world is just becoming creators. Creators was a piece of this ecosystem, and this year was the first year here. I felt like creators is the thing. It is the whole ecosystem.
Oh my gosh. So I went to that B2B Cannes Summit yesterday, and I was surprised because obviously I know LinkedIn is pushing it, but I hadn't quite picked up on how much it had sort of crept into the rest of the industry. And there were two big takeaways. It was AI and creators, which on the B2B side, I was shocked because everybody's always oh, it's 5 to 10 years behind B2C. So it was really compelling to see that. It's pretty wild.
Crazy. Are you releasing anything, or are there certain products you're talking about here? I know last year was Symphony, I think, when he released it during Cannes. Is there anything you're releasing, or what are you talking to creators about that's new?
So we did announce some new additions to the Symphony suite. So image to text, additional dubbing features, product videos. So you can kind of using AI make a lot of those kind of product review videos, which are really important for SMBs especially. So there's a few things there that we announced on the Symphony suite. I think what we're really trying to talk about with creators are all the tools. So we have TikTok Studio, and we've really increased
it's looking very good.
On web and on mobile, in the app, and Creator Academy is embedded right into it. We recently launched our Creator AI Assistant, which we're really getting some good feedback from the creators that are testing it. It brings insights on search, and it tells them second by second viewer retention, and so they're really starting to test that. So we're really trying to get the word out. We have all these tools, we have all this data, we have all these analytics for creators. And then we are talking a bit more about our rewards program. So we've recently announced or launched 2 new features of it in the US for specialized rewards. So for TV and film, auto, learning, and sports content, we now have, right now it's an invite only as we're testing it. But you can essentially, if you're making high quality content that's really on those themes, you can unlock a multiplier of the rewards. And then we also launched additional rewards in every market that has creator rewards program, that if you have that higher production value in your content and you're really like stable on the theme, you can also get up to 5 times the rewards in the program. So, going back to like the kind of idea of, where the money is, there's a lot of creators this week that have said to me, I'm paying my rent through the additional rewards.
That's amazing.
Things like that. So we're really trying to get platform pay right, and it's really about like rewarding that high quality original content.
All right, I want to pin you down on production stuff. So I've heard this a lot this week. Better quality production, higher quality content. Yes. We just went through 5 years where everyone was educated on make it lower fi, make it more authentic, make it like you didn't even care and you just hit record in your living room wearing whatever you're wearing. Now there's this almost shift to make it more premium, make it higher quality. And sometimes that creators go, am I capable of that? What equipment do I need? What does it mean? Yeah,
I'm so happy we're going to talk about this because yes, we are talking about high quality content. And I think people might be like, oh my gosh, I have to change everything that I'm doing. High quality for us is well-crafted, engaging, and specialized. And so well-crafted, it's the lighting, it's the editing, it's like, it's taking out the ums and the likes. It's starting
the millennial pause.
It's the millennial pause. Have you seen that when it's like I asked my Gen Z intern to edit and they only take the pauses? It's that. It's the opposite of that, right? So it's like the tight editing, the good lighting, like kind of like best practices on that. And then I think the specialized, when we say that, it's like it's having your unique point of view. I think the whole theme that TikTok has here at Cannes this week is like the world is finding their POV on TikTok. That's really what that is. It's have a perspective and share it like in a very clear way. And then the kind of engaging part is have a hook, pull your audience in through really think about how are you ending and, how does it loop back to the beginning? It's okay to look direct to camera, like those types of things. So it's still real. It's still authentic, still on your phone. It's all you need. So it's really not this like monumental shift. It's just these little things you can do. And we've seen that when creators do that on TikTok, they can make 15 times the rewards and they have over 40 times the follower growth. So with little tweaks, they really see like that's where the growth is.
Why? Is it like a perception of trust where in the first few seconds, if something looks a little bit just more polished, like not polished as in stage, but like just more premium, is the viewer just staying that much longer?
I mean, I love on my For You page, like a little like jump scare in the moment, like video just to say, and I think we will always have so much of that. And that is very engaging as well. And there's a huge audience for that. I think we're just seeing that when you take that little extra time to make that tight edit, to have that bit better lighting, I mean, you're taking over the whole screen of someone's phone, right? Like if it looks a bit better, people might want to watch it a bit more. So
you've upgraded your setup too. Like I notice when I watch your stuff, it like looks more premium. Just a little bit of camera, like lighting. It does look good.
Yeah, it doesn't. I think the big thing too is like audio. People forget like just film in a quiet spot. Like audio, I think is more important than like lighting and like video because if the audio is bad, like there's something about it you just like I can't watch this.
Yeah.
One thing though, I think to the kind of quality piece, it's like the thing I think TikTok has done such a good job of is getting brands to adapt to the platform to like make TikToks not ads. I think you were the first platform that really got brands to understand that like, oh, I don't need to do a TV commercial on digital and like really embrace like creators. Like there's so many brands that do, both influencers, but then bring creators into the mix to produce content, the Nerf brought on the chief TikTok officer, stuff like that, which I think just like hammering that message home time and time again. The other brands hadn't quite made that shift. And instead we're sort of like, brands make nice stuff. We'll try and like back into their way of doing things.
Yeah.
I think we had a data point that was, I think over 70% of users said they want brands on TikTok. Like they want to discover products. They want brands to be there. And by the way, your brand is already there. It's already there. If you go on and like Creator Search Insights, you can find every brand or their niche is already on TikTok. But so I think, it's just really about respecting the authenticity of the platform and leaning into it and not interrupting the experience, but like becoming a part of it. And so the brands that are doing that through creators or through having, their own their own creator as the brand, or just even in the language, like leaning into the trends, or how like the comment section on TikTok is a whole community in and of itself.
Totally.
Brands that lean into comments, like that's how you, like, when you get into the comments and you see a brand that like killed it on a comment, and you're like, okay, I see you. Okay. So I think that's like the vibe.
A lot of the viral brands get more views and engagements on comments than they do on their actual posts. And you did talk about earlier how sometimes brands are hesitant to like give up a little bit of control. I still, when I'm with brands, I'm like, you have no control. Like let's just get past it. You don't own your brand anymore. You are setting a tone for the people who now take your brand to kind of understand where you're coming from, but you do not own your brand anymore. It's out there in the wild. $2 billion in carded products. That's how much Linky has driven for its customers. So if you're looking for an influencer marketing agency, look no further. Some of the most innovative brands in the world have turned to Linky to plan, execute, and measure their influencer investments. We're talking McDonald's, Duolingo, Kraft, Canva, Chevrolet, Clorox. I could go on and on. We just don't have time. Find out why Linkia has a 9.2 customer satisfaction rating by contacting the Linkia team at hello@linkia.com. Tell them Keith and Brendan sent you. All right, so on TikTok, sometimes it is harder to build community. You could have a lot of followers, but you don't know if you're going to reach that following consistently. Whereas sometimes, if you have a YouTube subscriber, there may be more consistency in it. And so I think creators are trying to figure that out. Like, how do I build community? What is the value of the follower? Does the follower help me get consistency? What are you telling them in terms of community building?
I think that's so interesting, because I would say like our number one thing with creators is the power of the community on TikTok. Being a platform that is all about co-creation and starting with content and that discoverability, like we say, find your audience, find your community, and like kind of like the rest is history. I think it was a bit interesting at first, because we're a content first platform, that actually we said don't care about the story that you have and not the number of followers. Because I know, for example, one of our biggest creators now, Michaela, I started following her like way back, like first videos, and I spoke about her so much. I was always talking about her, and I realized I wasn't following her like for almost a year, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I saw all of her videos. She was always on my For You. So I think that it was built differently. But the community on TikTok and the different communities that we have and the niche communities that started, I mean, every talk that's out there, book talk, travel talk, mom talk, dad talk, and all of, there's a whole community around girl math. Like personally, I'm part of that community. So I think that's just where, for a creator, needing to understand that the community isn't only going to be your followers. It's actually going to be everyone that sees your videos. I was talking to a creator yesterday. She has a little bit over 1 million followers. And she said, but 98% of my views come from the For You feed. So she's like, so I actually feel like I have, 90 million in my community. So I think it's about that. And the other thing I would say is they can have multiple communities, which I think is really interesting. So you might have a community that comes to your account for a certain format that you do. And you have that really engaged audience. And then you might do completely different content that you're mixing in on your page, which is okay, because the way that our platform works, then it will give that type of content to that part of your community. So you can have multiple communities within TikTok. So I think it's interesting for me, like that's kind of the community is kind of like the thing.
It's more fluid almost. That you could tap it.
It's interesting. It's sort of a double-edged sword in a way, because it's like, it's great because anybody coming onto the platform now has like an actual shot, whereas like I think back in the day and like a few years into Instagram, it was just like the big were getting bigger because they had momentum, and now it's like, because it's interest graph and like more individual asset based, it's like, oh, I actually have a shot at like getting eyeballs, versus like if you joined another platform a few years ago before it sort of shifted that direction, like it was really freaking hard.
Yeah. Well, it's getting, maybe this is just my biased perception. It feels like it's getting harder to build a following, and it's any platform matures. Yeah. So in the early days, if you were on and doing things, you could hit some viral post and build this massive audience, but it wasn't really your community. And so I think a lot of people then said, I have all this following, but I'm not getting any consistency. And it was almost like you rode a wave, whereas now as you build a following, because the platform is much more matured, it's harder to earn that following, and that following is a little bit more community based. But listen, I hate to admit this. I've been begging LinkedIn to do the follower feed. It's there. I looked on my phone like a week ago, it's there. I don't tap it as much as I thought I would. I'm still staying on like the recommendation for you side of it. And I've been screaming like, I don't know what LinkedIn's doing. We need a following tab, and I want to know what, but then I'm not using it as much. So it's kind of that weird thing where you just know better than we do.
Well, they do.
The platform works. I think that's the beauty of the For You page is like it works, and it helps you to discover. Like I love that I probably every month I find 20 to 30 new creators to follow that I've never seen before. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, and they're just added into the rotation, and I think that's like without me really needing to express that I'm, looking for something new. So yeah, I think that's,
Well, it's sort of like, what's that quote, I think from Ford or maybe it was Steve Jobs. It was like, if you ask the consumer what they want, like they would ask for a faster horse instead of like a car, like, it's that kind of thing. Like, let me tell you what you want.
Also, Risa Tisa is here with us this week.
No.
Yeah.
Brendan loves Risa Tisa.
I wrote like what I think is like one of the better pieces of writing I've ever written about anything about Risa Tisa. I'm gonna have to dig it up and show it to you. But yes,
you did love Risa Tisa.
Love her.
So think about we were talking about storytelling and kind of starting with the story and starting with your perspective. Like it's becoming a TV show.
Yeah.
It's like yes, it's becoming a TV show, and that was less than a year ago.
I know.
That's I
know. It is wild.
Yeah.
So for that, are you encouraging creators to be more episodic and to storytell and cut stories? It felt like when Risa did it, it became the whole talk of the town last year. But now it's a little less. I don't hear it as much of the episodic. YouTube, I hear because they're moving to TV and trying to get more watch on TV and organizing episodes.
I think we're saying again, choose your own adventure. That's kind of our answer for a few
one
things.
Way in.
Exactly. If it works for you, right?
Yeah.
Don't force something.
Yeah.
But if you have something that you want to break up and you want to kind of create that, great. And that's why we made playlists and those things. I think also it was interesting. I was talking with a brand at the Nielsen panel. They look at saves because that's one of the biggest things to know about intent to buy is am I saving this because I want to go back and get the product? So sorry, I just remembered that. But it kind of had to do with this idea of playlists and people saving videos. And with Risa, it was what part are you on? And he was like, oh, I'm on 27. Don't tell me don't tell me what's happening. Yeah. And then all of a sudden part 43 showed up and I was no, I don't want to get out of order. But I think the combined total of that was something like 7 or 8 hours. And so I think that changed people's minds around how much you can do longer form storytelling on TikTok. And so whether that's in, her videos were 7 or 8 minutes long. So they weren't really small clips. So I think it changed the perspective of people will watch a longer video. And people are essentially watching a movie a day, on TikTok. So I think that changed the perspective. So if you want to break it up, if you want to do longer, we see a lot of that with podcasts actually. Doing multiple cut downs of the same kind of clip in different lengths, depending on what your audience responds to. So someone might want a 5-minute deep dive on one topic. Some person might want just the quick hits. So I think you can play around with it.
I feel like you guys became the biggest discovery engine for podcasts. Before, podcasts are hard.
Podcasts are hard.
But and discovery, I think, is one of the biggest challenges with them. And I think TikTok really breathed a lot of life into a ton of podcasts as a result.
We had, I think that one of my favorite podcasts, Shits and Gigs, they're from the UK. They did a whole tour in the US because they got a huge US audience on TikTok. So I think that's, I discover so many podcasts from around the world that I wouldn't have necessarily watched, and I like consume almost like entire episodes and then, you know, go find and like listen to the full thing or watch the full thing. So
IRL experiences. I think multi-platform and IRL has been one of the themes here too, where creators now have their own empires. They have their podcast, they have their TikTok, they have their merch shop on Shopify or whatever. They have their subscription thing on Patreon or Kajabi. Like they're building this empire, and so it's really interesting to see how they're doing this cross content. And then brands can have a fully integrated media buy with a single creator, because you could get short form, you get long form, you can get audio, you get all these things. So it's becoming more, again, they are the publisher. It's becoming a more integrated ecosystem, which I think is good, because sometimes brands don't like too many disparate. I use you for this. I use you for this creator for this. It's like, okay, I could do 5 really deep partnerships, multi-channel with all of you creators, and it will lead to good results.
I think also one of the things we've talked about a bit is like the community is rooting for the creator. They want to see the creator get the brand deals and the partnerships to bring their ideas to life.
Totally.
So they like, I think before, you know, you kind of like were like, and by the way, this is, you know, a collaboration. And now you see creators actually saying, hey, everyone, like, this is a collaboration, like, get in here, you know, like, get engaged. And they're cheering on, they're rooting. They want them to be able to launch their own brands, their own podcasts, their own things. So I love that kind of part of the community. You know, like, again, in the comments being like, let's get like, you know,
get that bag.
Exactly. You know, I've actually seen some creators that I'm like closer to, like they use like their close friends to be like, hey, did you? Like, like that type of thing. But I think that that's like really wonderful as well. And I think another thing is the power of like search.
Hell yes.
So you talked about discoverability. Yes. We did share here that search on TikTok went up 40% since last year.
So insane.
And that most of that is exploratory. So it's early in the intent process. So it's really about that influence of like, I'm starting to like look for things. And I'm really like, so it's early on, which I think is really powerful because it's not the like, the majority of the searches are really that like exploration, that curiosity. And there's so much opportunity for creators in that. So, you know, that's why we have like creator search insights to like help you to understand how to get up there. But yeah, I think that's like a huge thing for brands as well, understanding the power of search on TikTok, which maybe wasn't initially what they thought about.
Listen, as the data on attribution gets tighter, I do believe most search happens on non-Google products, and then they might go to Google at the end for the last click attribution, which is a whole other issue of Google getting credit for this. But I start most of my searches on TikTok these days. For anything, for res, 100%. Because I want to watch like 20, 30 videos to get a feel for like consistency. So if someone if like 7 different creators, like this is my favorite X, I'm like, all right, this isn't just a paid one-off partnership. Like there's a lot of consistency. I mean, then I do typically go to Google or Amazon, and then they get credit for that. So we're going to figure it out, but the behavior's shifting.
Seeing a real person demonstrate something, which is, I think, is part of the appeal of like the live stream shopping and like China and stuff like that. And like coming in here, which I'm still super
I know you are bullish on.
Like, I think people want to see like just a little like, what does it look like next to me kind of thing. Like that little difference, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's a huge deal.
But I think like this behavior already exists, like QVC.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and they did a whole rebrand positioning around social commerce.
I think there was some, I think, documentary or something that was like, you know, everything is a remix. Yeah. I mean, it's like this habit, this behavior exists. It's just translating to the platforms now. And yes, people want to see you really trying the product. There's also that moment of like, buy in the moment. There's brands on TikTok Shop that are doing a really good job with like promotions, you know, so like if you buy from the live, you know, it's a really good deal. So yeah, I mean, I think like, and there's just something about like right in the moment, I joined this, you know, I saw the product, I got it. But I'm similar to you. I want to see, I kind of want it fast, right? Like I want to be able to, I want to see 10 examples. All right, I watch this one. No, I don't identify with that person. I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to save 3 that I can come back later. My saves are like, you know, my shopping list. So I think that like kind of behavior is.
I'm also in the industry. So like we're all in the industry, and I know for the people who are like, yeah, but a lot of this is paid influencer work. I know damn well when I Google like the top 10 headphones, all 10 of those like top 10 from Nets, whatever, they're all paid for. Like, let's not fool ourselves as consumers. I used to pay for placement when I was at Unilever all the time of like the top products in beauty. So I think there's this perception sometimes that like, oh yeah, but Google has like the real top like publisher things. Like, please, that is as, if not more paid for than the creators are.
But then it goes back to like, I want them to get paid for doing that. They're influencing.
100%.
Like, I love
100%.
when I see that I'm going to an affiliate link.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, like you influenced me to get that product.
And they're not going to ruin their following by doing something bad. These creators, I promise you, if you're a brand, they care less about your brand than their following, because their following is their entire life. They will not promote something that risks the following. Because if I do buy something from a creator and it sucks, it's not the brand, frankly, that's going to get punished more. It's that creator, because I will never trust anything they say again.
Because the trust is so deep.
It's self-policing. It's totally self-policing.
Yeah.
All right, we have. Let's do one more, then let's get to Cow back, because I know you have. This was your A-list conversation. Then you have a B-list with Alex Earl. After us, you got to get to your B-list conversation.
I can't wait to talk with her.
But this was, you couldn't wait for this one. Yeah, that was the secondary. Just data. You did mention saves, but I wanted to talk about all the creators who are really focused on following and views. What are they not looking at? What should they be looking at that aren't those typical metrics?
I would just please check out TikTok Studio, please. Like, it has so many insights and tools and analytics. It can really tell you like the second by second viewership, that retention. It can give you, with the AI assistant, like ideas for other videos and content that are performing similarly. It can tell you about the performance of your video, you know, like, is it tracking in terms of the views it's getting and things like that. I think that's always a question, you know, that kind of anxiety of like, is this going well? Is this pacing? Is it performing the same as my other content? Like, that's the type of stuff that you can find in TikTok Studio. So I just want to emphasize that.
It's impressive. Like, I think you guys roll out analytics and updates so fast. It's crazy.
So like honestly, I would just say there's so much in there around like the engagement, where it's going, who's seeing it, how long, what part of the video is working, and like you can really use that to make those tweaks to look at the like different video performance. So that's honestly is what I would
drop off all that stuff.
Yeah,
I had one creator in a panel, which I thought was smart. He said, you can't really just, everyone wants to just, okay, all my videos, some big dashboard that he's like, I live in the data of every video. And sometimes it's not that the data extract in itself as a dashboard says something. It's that because you're living in it, you're looking at this drop off here and this, oh, I did this here and I did this here, then this other video. So everyone wants it to be this scaled process where you could just sit every month and look at data. He's like, I'm in the data all day, every day of my videos.
And I think most creators are because they're producing so much content and like they want to understand exactly like what in each video is working. So yeah.
All right, lightning round. We got to do cow bow. We've got 5 minutes. This is gonna be our fastest cow bow we've ever done. Cow is creator of the week, bow is brand of the week, and then what are we following? You can go last if you need time to think.
All right.
Creator of the week, Brendan. Who's your
All right, prepared. All right, Lewis Butterfield. He's a amazing LinkedIn creator. He does like these 8-bit style graphics or interviews with LinkedIn creators. It's sort of like Nardwuar meets Mike Diva.
Not. Wow. Okay. I love that. Mine, I went with Dar. I thought Dar was one of the most impressive panelists I've ever been on a panel with, the most honest about how his revenue is split, etc. And then I did not know this until I did this with him. He is the most followed like original scripted creator. He has over 20 million subscribers on YouTube, over 100 million across channels, did over 10 billion views in the last year, and has over 200 employees of Darman Studios. I spoke to the team. We will have either Dar or their team on to talk about it. But I don't know. I think there's perception of these creators are kind of just independent people selfieing themselves, and Dar runs a 200-person massive organization. It's so impressive. So Dar got my nod. Creator of the week.
I am going to go with Alex. I think I'm so excited to speak with her right after this. We're speaking to a group of CMOs about like the Alex Earl brand deal model and how she's taken, you know, some like college house content to now this like multi-hyphenate, multifaceted businesswoman going from Coachella to Harvard Business School, you know, in a 24-hour period. I mean, I think, and seeing her speak, I saw some clips of her on some panels this week. I think just the way that she's able to explain and teach other creators, and she's sharing so much of her journey from the business side is really, I think I love creators that give back to other creators. And I think she's really, really doing that. So yeah. Yeah.
If she needs podcast advice, just
Sure.
send her away. Send her away. All right, Bao, brand of the week. What do you got?
All right, I downloaded this app, Be Present. It helps you reduce screen time, and the ad totally got me. They did a great job on the ad, but the app freaking works. It's been super frustrating. Downloading it before Can was a bad idea because like I'm like trying to open Instagram. It's like, are you sure you want to open Instagram? I'm like, half these people, it's like I'm in DMs with them, and so. But it is working. Okay. So
I love it. My brand of the week is Dove for so many reasons. They're doing amazing work here. Obviously, they're up for a bunch of stuff, but they did the Share the First campaign. This was, let me get this right, the brand's first campaign made entirely from creator content. No studio production, no big commercial, all from creator content. The whole point, and I love insight to idea. I always stress with brands, get an insight, a human truth, bring it to idea. That 9 in 10 women take up to 50 photos before posting a single one, and 6 out of 10 don't post any happy moments on social because they're not happy with their photos. So this is supporting the claim that share the first, just take the photo, share the first. And it also supports the CEO, which, oh my God, thank you to my alma mater Unilever CEO for, 2 months ago, saying they were going to shift 50% of their budgets to social and 20x the number of creators. Every brand I talk to goes, I shared that quote and that announcement. So thank you, Unilever.
I love that. I am going to go with actually Budweiser. They won a Grand Prix here this week for a campaign that they ran called the 1 second ad on TikTok. And it's basically 1 second of a song and asked if you could name the song in the comments. And that is such a behavior that already happens like on TikTok. So they really understood 1 second and creating that gamification of like, of course I know that song, but they're really trying to create that association of their connection with music. And I think, doing it in a 1 second ad didn't disrupt the experience, huge engagement, like one Grand Prix. It also was, it was done in Brazil, and they're the creative country of the year, which I have a close connection to. So I was very happy to see them get recognized for that.
That's
the 1
awesome.
second ad. Yeah.
I don't think I saw that 1 second ad.
I think I saw that other.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's close this out. Follow. What are we following?
Follow Vivatech. I went last week. It was incredible.
Paris?
Yeah, I was in Paris. I was blown away.
Really?
100%. Like I feel bad. I wasn't really aware of how big it was. I went. The people were insane, in a good way. It was amazing. The lineup, the production value. It was like CES, but I would say maybe even a little bit more elevated in a way. But it was that kind of concentration of people, and it was in Paris, which was awesome.
Yeah. Very cool. My follow, again, I'm not supporting it. I'm not good or bad, but I do follow sometimes I agree supporting it, but I am following the AI conversation on the video generation. If you didn't watch at the NBA Finals, there was a betting company who gave the AI filmmaker PJ, I forget PJ's last name, they aired during the finals an entirely AI produced commercial. He produced it, he said, in 2 to 3 days for $2,000. It is production grade quality. I had no idea it was AI. It's just, we're getting to a place that I never thought we would be at. NBA Finals, I'll send you the company, the betting company. We're not going to say names, but oh my God, I did not think we were here at this point in time.
Okay, so what's the following? What's the...
Anything you're that's capturing your attention right now that you're following. It could be a person, it could be a topic, it could be a brand, it could be just what's capturing you, a trend, anything. If I go on your For You feed right now, what am I going to be seeing?
The holy airball.
What is the holy airball?
It's just it's just a trend that's happening right now. It's someone asks you a question it would be if I went to Alex today and she said, I'm a businesswoman, and someone thought that it meant that she had a small, shop, and then you kind of do your scroll of headlines, and it's holy airball. So I don't know. I mean, that was the most random thing that came in my mind. If you actually want to know what's on my For You feed right now, because I just love it because so many people are just sharing how amazing they are, and it's they're so proud of themselves, and I love when people are sharing their accomplishments. But so that's, I guess,
I like
such
that.
that was the most random small thing,
that's
and I love
perfect.
it. There you go. That's what's happening on TikTok right now.
Holy
airball.
Holy airball. We'll adopt it. I'm going to use it so incorrectly today, and I guarantee you someone says that's not the use of holy airball. All right, we got to get you to your next one. Thank you so much for doing this.
So fun.